New Funko Pop leaks just hit Reddit, and they're causing absolute chaos in the Marvel community because they match perfectly with those makeup bag photos that leaked weeks ago. We're talking exact character designs, exact costumes, exact details that either confirm those earlier leaks were legitimate or prove that someone went through the insane effort of creating fake Funko packaging based on fake photos just to mess with everyone. A Reddit user posted images with "Do not share externally" stamped right on them, showing Steve Rogers with Mjolnir, Doctor Doom's mask with those controversial eye holes, Mystique in her blue and white suit, Loki wearing his green helmet, and Binary confirming Monica Rambeau's involvement. The debate in the comments is split 50-50 between people saying this confirms everything and people arguing that one leak doesn't verify another leak, that anyone with Photoshop skills could fake Funko packaging. But there are specific details here that weren't in the original leaks. New information that suggests these might actually be legitimate, and if they are, we just got major confirmation about how these characters will look in Avengers Doomsday. Let me start by breaking down what those original leaks showed, because context matters here. In early January 2026, someone posted photos of what appeared to be a makeup department bag or production materials showing character design sheets for Avengers Doomsday. The images were blurry, taken quickly like someone was sneaking photos they weren't supposed to take, but you could clearly make out certain details. Steve Rogers wearing a black and gold nomad-style suit, not the classic red, white, and blue Captain America costume, and he's holding what looks like Mjolnir in his hand. Doctor Doom's mask was visible with these large eye openings that immediately sparked controversy because comic purists wanted the traditional tiny eye slits. Mystique appeared in a blue and white costume design that looked like a modern take on her classic look. Loki was there, but the helmet color was hard to determine in those photos. And Binary, the cosmically powered form of Captain Marvel, was shown, which suggested Monica Rambeau would be playing a major role. Those leaks spread across Twitter, Reddit, and YouTube within hours, but skeptics immediately questioned their authenticity because production leaks are easy to fake if you have decent design skills and knowledge of what fans expect. Now fast forward to this week when a Reddit user on the Leaks and Rumors subreddit posts a gallery of images showing Funko Pop packaging for an Avengers Doomsday wave. The photos literally have "Do not share externally" printed on them, which is standard for internal Funko materials that retailers and distributors receive before public announcement. And here's where it gets wild. Every single character design matches those makeup bag photos from weeks ago. Steve Rogers in the exact same black and gold suit holding Mjolnir. Doctor Doom with the same controversial mask design and large eye holes. Mystique in blue and white. Loki with his helmet. Binary looking cosmically charged. If these Funko leaks are fake, someone went through extraordinary effort to create packaging that perfectly matches earlier leaks, includes accurate Funko branding and formatting, and even added internal distribution warnings. If they're real, then someone at Funko or a retail partner just confirmed major character designs for one of the biggest movies of the decade by leaking confidential materials to the internet. The Reddit thread immediately exploded with debate about authenticity. One of the top comments says, "One leak doesn't verify another leak. Someone could just fake a Funko based on the leaked images. Everyone is playing straight into their hands with all this stuff." That's actually a fair point. Creating fake Funko packaging isn't technically difficult if you have the design files and know the format. You could take those makeup bag photos, create 3D renders that match the designs, slap them on Funko box templates, add the Marvel and Funko logos, and post them online. The internet would analyze them, debate them, spread them everywhere, and you'd successfully create chaos without any legitimate inside information. But here's the counter-argument. That requires significant effort, design skill, and knowledge of Funko's internal formatting. It's not impossible, but it's also not something a random person does for fun. And historically, Funko leaks for Marvel properties have been incredibly accurate. When Funko packaging leaks happen, they almost always turn out to be real, because the company produces these figures months in advance and distributes materials to retailers globally, creating countless opportunities for leaks. But there's a problem that skeptics immediately jumped on. Look closely at Mystique's costume in the Funko versus the costume in the original photo leak. They're different. In the makeup bag photo, Mystique appears to be wearing a full bodysuit with coverage extending to her shoulders and hips. In the Funko, she has knee-high white boots and more of her upper arms exposed, showing blue skin from just above the elbow down instead of covered shoulders. One Reddit user pointed this out, saying, "Mystique costume is different though. In the Funko, she has knee-high boots and more of her upper arm is exposed." Someone responded arguing that the photo leak shows the same thing, posting a zoomed-in comparison image. Another user suggested it's Mystique. She can literally shapeshift on a whim. Maybe this is her second look. That's actually plausible. Mystique changing her appearance throughout the film makes perfect sense for her character. But it also gives skeptics ammunition to argue that the inconsistency proves at least one of these leaks is fabricated. Here's a detail that actually supports authenticity, though. The new Funko leak shows Loki wearing a green helmet, the classic Loki color scheme, but the earlier makeup bag photos showed what appeared to be a black and gold helmet, the color scheme associated with He Who Remains and the TVA aesthetic from the Loki series. Multiple Reddit users pointed this out, with one saying, "None of the previous leaks had Loki with a green helmet." Someone responded posting a screenshot from the end of Loki Season 2, showing him sitting on the throne at the end of time wearing green. The argument is that this Funko represents God of Stories Loki in his final form, which makes narrative sense for his appearance in Doomsday. Here's why this detail matters. If someone was faking these Funkos based on the earlier leaks, they would have made Loki's helmet black and gold to match. The fact that it's green instead suggests either the makeup bag photos showed an earlier costume concept that changed, or this Funko is based on separate legitimate information rather than just copying the photo leak. Then there's Steve Rogers holding Mjolnir, which has everyone losing their minds for multiple reasons. The Funko clearly shows him gripping Thor's hammer, not his shield. One user asked, "Is it me or does Steve got Mjolnir in his hand?" And another confirmed, "He does." Someone else explained, since he doesn't have the shield, he uses Mjolnir to fight. This makes total sense from both a narrative and visual standpoint. We know from the teaser that Steve is old, that he's coming out of retirement for this mission. In Endgame, he proved he could wield Mjolnir when he was worthy. If this version of Steve either lost the shield, gave it to Sam Wilson, or left it behind when he retired, then picking up Mjolnir as his weapon of choice creates a powerful visual callback while giving him a legitimate threat against multiversal dangers. Some people think this could be Flashback Steve from the Endgame timeline, but the costume doesn't match any previous appearance. This seems to be present-day old Steve choosing to wield the hammer because it's the most effective weapon available for the threats they're facing. Dr. Doom's mask design continues to be controversial, specifically those eye holes. Someone on Reddit commented, "Why are the eye holes for Doom's mask so big WTF?" And the response was immediate, so that people can recognize RDJ, and it gives him more facial expression range. This is classic MCU approach to masked characters. They did the same thing with Iron Man, constantly finding excuses to show Tony's face instead of keeping him behind the helmet. They did it with Spider-Man, having him unmasked constantly. They're doing it with Doom because Robert Downey Jr. is one of the most expensive and recognizable actors on the planet, and Marvel wants audiences to see his performance, not just hear his voice through a mask. From a storytelling perspective, facial expressions convey emotion better than voice alone. From a marketing perspective, you're paying RDJ an obscene amount of money, you want his face visible. Comic purists hate it because Doom traditionally has tiny eye slits that make him look inhuman and intimidating. But this is the MCU, where practical filmmaking and actor showcase often trump comic accuracy. One detail that's driving conspiracy theories is the "do not share externally" text clearly visible on these Funko images. Multiple Reddit users joked about it, with one saying, "Do not share externally, okay chief, whoops," and another commenting, "Good thing I can't read." But here's the thing, if you're faking Funko packaging to trick people, why would you add that warning? It makes the leak look more authentic. Sure, but it also creates a clear trail back to whoever leaked it if it's real. Internal Funko materials with distribution warnings are trackable. They know which retailers and partners received which materials and when. Adding that text to a fake leak is risky because it invites Funko and Marvel to investigate, and if they determine it's fake, they could pursue legal action against whoever created it. The fact that it's there suggests either someone with legitimate access leaked these materials and included the warning because it was on the original files, or a very confident forger added it, knowing that neither company would bother investigating something they already know is fake. Historically, though, when Funko leaks happen with internal markings, they turn out to be real more often than not. There's also the mystery of the missing Cyclops. Earlier leaks and rumors suggested Cyclops would be part of the X-Men roster in Doomsday, possibly even a major character based on his appearance in that teaser. But this Funko wave shows binary where people expected Cyclops to be. One user asked, "Where's Cyclops?" Binary is there now instead of Cyclops, and someone responded, "Might not be the full wave." That's entirely possible. Funko often releases Marvel movies in multiple waves, with main characters in the first wave and supporting characters or spoilery reveals in later waves. Cyclops could be held back for a second release to avoid spoiling something about his role, or he could be getting his own separate release as part of a different product line. But there's also the chance that his role got reduced or changed during production, and he's not as prominent in the final film as early reports suggested. We know the X-Men appear based on that teaser, but the extent of their involvement and which specific mutants get significant screen time is still unclear. So if these Funko leaks are real, here's what they confirm. Steve Rogers is coming out of retirement, probably old and weathered based on the teaser, and he's wielding Mjolnir instead of his shield as his primary weapon. Dr. Doom's mask design is finalized with those large eye openings to showcase Robert Downey Jr.'s facial performance. Loki appears in some capacity, likely as the god of stories from the end of his series, wearing his classic green and gold colors. Mystique has at least 2 costume variations throughout the film, suggesting either a costume change or her using shape-shifting abilities to alter her appearance. And Binary, the cosmically powered form that Monica Rambeau unlocked in the Marvels, plays a significant enough role to warrant inclusion in the main Funko wave alongside heavy hitters like Doom and Steve Rogers. That last point is huge because it confirms Monica isn't just a cameo. She's an actual player in this story, with presumably significant screen time and importance to the plot. The multiverse crisis likely requires cosmic-level power to combat, and Binary's energy manipulation makes her one of the few characters capable of operating at that scale. Either we're witnessing the biggest coordinated fake leak effort in Marvel history, where someone created convincing makeup bag photos and then followed up weeks later with equally convincing Funko packaging that includes details not present in the original leak, or we just got legitimate confirmation of major character designs for Avengers Doomsday through retail distribution channels. Funko leaks have historically been accurate for MCU properties because the company produces millions of figures and distributes materials to hundreds of partners globally, making information security nearly impossible. If these are real, someone at Funko or a retail partner decided the internet needed to see these designs months before official announcement, and they leaked confidential materials knowing it could cost them their job. If they're fake, someone with significant design skills and knowledge of Funko's internal formatting created elaborate forgeries for reasons that aren't entirely clear. We'll know for sure when Funko officially announces their Avengers Doomsday line, probably around March or April 2026 when marketing ramps up. Until then, the debate continues. But the 18th of December 2026 can't come soon enough, because that's when we'll finally see these characters on screen and know definitively whether all these leaks were accurate or if we've been playing ourselves this entire time.